I guess you could call these guys, a Bionicle? This child doesn't have Bionicles. Wait a minute. This child doesn't have talking mascots either. Wait, don't tell me. Are we ripping off MGO?
Hey all my peoples, it's ATS here, the friggin' heaviest dead himself, and today we will be going through my favorite toys of 2023. So here we are, and there they are, so let's get into it. So, starting off this list, number 10, we have Studio Series 101 Rise of the Beasts Scourge. And I really like this figure. He has amazing detail and he really looks good in both modes. He has some of the best light piping I've ever seen, and he's just like a big boy. He's got lots of presents put with other toys or put on the shelf. He has good articulation, so he can do some really striking poses. And the only real issue is that he has kind of weird proportions. Like, I don't know if he was based on an unfinished movie design or what. Like, he has like a small head, a really long neck. This claw thing is too big, and he didn't come with an alternate hand like he really should have. Also, this sword should be removable. And he's kind of got chicken legs. But other than that, this figure is near enough perfect. And with that up-and-coming DNA upgrade kit, he really does look perfect. So I hope I'll be able to get that, and then this will be a truly fantastic figure. But anyways, that's our number 10 pick. And our next figure at number 9 here is Legacy Nova Prime. So this figure is obviously a remold of that Siege Galaxy upgrade Optimus Prime from a few years ago. And I never got that figure, so I was actually pretty excited when they announced this, because I actually did want a version of that mold. And getting him in hand is pretty fun, and he is really big. Like, holding him in hand, there's just like a large weight of the plastic, and he's nice and tall and wide and big in every portion, which is great for a modern leader, because they've been getting smaller. So just having something this big come out this year has been amazing. He could have used some upgrades over the original mold, like his hands could have done with like just, a simple open grasper, like Siege Optimus, like a Earthrise Optimus. And the wings could have used more than one point of articulation. And also, I kind of wish these were removable so you could have more flexibility with those. But other than that, this is just like a really solid figure and a really cool representation of an obscure character. For number 8, we are scaling it down a little bit with Studio Series 92 Crosshairs. I actually created a poll with this and a few others because the middle rankings are kind of the hardest part of a list to make, and so I asked the fans to vote. He unfortunately lost the poll, but this is still a really cool figure. He has great detail and articulation, especially for a deluxe, and in his vehicle mode he looks just like the car he's supposed to represent. He looks like a perfect Corvette C7, which looks wise is my favorite Corvette, so that's amazing. And then when this figure was first announced, I had the original Age of Extinction Crosshairs, and I'm in the minority who actually really likes that figure, and I was wondering if this could be an upgrade, and it absolutely is. So that was awesome. The only real issue is that the backs of the legs are pretty hollow, and the way the trench coat works is kind of weird and bulky, but for a deluxe class that achieves so much, all of that is more than forgivable. So that's our number 8 pick, Crosshairs. So following Crosshairs is our number 7 pick, another late Bayverse design. We have Studio Series 93 Hot Rod from the last night. This came in third place in the polls, but trust me, this figure is amazing. He looks fantastic in both robot and vehicle mode, and the transformation is very involved without being finicky or annoying like most highly involved transformations are. Everything tabs in fine, everything works as it should. It's just super solid overall. The only real issue is that he's a little panely in vehicle mode, but given the complexity of this as a deluxe, that is more than forgivable. And just in terms of engineering alone, I think he's probably the best official Takara Tomy Hasbro figure of the year outside of the Masterpiece line. So yeah, that's Hot Rod. For the number 6 entry, things are getting a little bigger again because we have Studio Series 91 The Fallen. So this guy came in second place in the poll, and he is definitely worthy of being in one of the winner's spots. Like, the looks of this thing are just insane, as you can tell. The articulation is pretty good, and despite his size, he's pretty stable. And speaking of size, this guy, he doesn't quite have the weight of some of the older Studio Series, but he definitely has the height. Like, depending on how you pose him, he can be taller than the Bayverse Grimlock. He can be taller than the Studio Series Jetfire. He's just so big. The only real complaint is that he has a weak vehicle mode, but that should be expected given the fact that he never transformed in the movie. Very, very solid figure. Up next is number 5, Legacy Tarn. He was not in the poll because I could only do 4 options, and I didn't really want to put him before or after all of those figures on this list, so I kind of stuck him in the middle. But yeah, this is Legacy Tarn, and he looks amazing just from pretty much all angles. No real hollow gaps or anything. Just all around very solid. And he has the best light piping in my collection, I believe. Like, it's just insane, and he's very fun in both modes. He has fantastic articulation. He can get into some amazing poses. The only issue is that he's pretty thin front to back. He could stand to have some more bulk, but other than that, he's pretty much perfect. Some people say he's a little overrated, which maybe, but he's very good. If you can get him or the bludgeon version, I'm sure they're both great. So, amazing figure. In 4th place of the year, we have Studio Series 100 Bumblebee, the winner of the poll and the subject of the most popular short on my channel. And, you know, if they could only pick one figure to make their Studio Series number 100, I think this is a pretty good choice. It looks great in robot and vehicle mode, and it's really fun in both, and it has a really fun transformation. All around, it's just a good, solid, fun toy. He's a little bit boxy, especially in like the chest and the legs, and he could definitely use more paint, especially in the accessories. But other than that, this is a really good figure, and those things are honestly no reason to avoid him at all. If you can find him for retail price or so, I highly, highly recommend getting him. Now the 3rd place bronze medal goes to another Rise of the Beast figure, Studio Series 102 Optimus Prime. And this guy's just really cool. Like, his look is just spectacular. In both modes, he looks pretty good, and the posability is amazing, and you can get him into some really cool looking poses, just some iconic poses, and he's just overall pretty fun. He has issues like his head and gun and truck mode in general are all smaller than I would like. The truck bed is very compromised due to the transformation, but overall, like, the highs outweigh the lows with this figure. And so if you're walking around Target and you spot him, I highly recommend you pick him up. Bringing home the silver in this competition is our second place pick, Studio Series 14 Ironhide / Tangway Weapon Master. My Ironhide is currently in storage, but Tangway is tied with him because they both have their own pros and cons. The original has better fine details, such as the GMC logos, and the details on the cannons are better on the original. But the KO has more and better accessories and has better articulation due to the inclusion of the ankle pivot and toe joint upgrade kits, and he's better priced. He does have worse plastic and tolerances, however. I was not able to tab in certain parts when I transformed him for my video, but the price really makes up for it in my opinion. If you try to get the original, he's very expensive on the aftermarket. This one is no longer available on Shozi's store where I bought him, but on the aftermarket he goes for pretty reasonable amounts. I'm seeing him right now for about $40 on eBay, which for what you're getting here is definitely worth it. So I recommend this guy if you haven't picked him up already. So, before we get to our top pick of the year, there's some honorable mentions I wanted to talk about that didn't quite make the list. So, starting off with the honorable mentions, we have Kingdom Minerva. So, this figure is basically Elita 1, but with, in my opinion, a slightly better paint job and head sculpt. She's just as fun as the original and is a good figure. Just didn't stand out enough to make the list. The next honorable mention is Studio Series 86 Ironhide. This one was also a pretty fun figure, and he does look really good in both modes, besides like the blue painted plastic issues. But much like Minerva, he just wasn't really impressive enough to stand out and make the list. Buzzworthy Jazz is another figure I liked this year. He looks really cool, and he's pretty fun to mess around with. He has a lot of really cool, neat little accessories, like his grapple gun. So yeah, he's a really nice figure. If you can find him for like a good price, maybe like a little bit of a discount, he's a good toy to pick up. Another honorable mention we have is Studio Series 10 Jazz. This is a really good figure, about on par with Crosshairs, but I didn't want to include him because he came out several years ago and he's now just so expensive on the aftermarket that it's just not worth buying him if you don't already have him. And if you do have him, you already know what he's like. So he's just a little too expensive to make the list. Our final honorable mention is Studio Series 32 Optimus Prime, who is actually in storage right now. So I have Studio Series 44 standing in for him. And basically that figure is just this one with slightly worse paint. So a solid figure, it's pretty cool in both modes, but to me it's kind of been there, done that, because I've had 44 for a long time. Yeah, he's a cool figure, but just didn't stand out. And now, for our final pick, our number one gold medal place for my favorite figure of 2023 is technically not a Transformer, but he's a Transformer in everything but name.
You got the touch. You got the power.
Magic Square Light of Peace. Now, this figure is the greatest G1 Optimus Prime of all time. The articulation is superb, and he strikes a better profile than MP44. And he also has a simpler transformation. And I was a little nervous about including this on the list because I thought the aftermarket price might be much too high. But doing some research, there's actually some new variants on this guy that are available right now for cheaper than I paid for the original. So, if you have $100+ to spend on a plastic robot toy, then I highly, highly recommend that you purchase this figure. So, there you go. If you would like to see my videos on these or any of my other videos from the past year, you can check them out on my main channel. There will be a link in the description down below, so go check it out. And I think that's it. So don't forget to sub to this channel, sub to my main channel, follow MGo's channel because I totally ripped him off. All that good stuff down in the description below. And I think that's pretty much all there is to say. So, those were my top 10 favorite figures of 2023. And this is ATS saying, remember, you don't stop playing because you grow old. You grow old because you stop playing. Be a geek, be proud. Palm in your face. So I was like, nuh-uh, and she was like, yeah-huh, and I was like, nuh-uh, and she was like, yeah-huh, and I was like, for real? But anyways, that's why I only have one eye. Wow, Shockwave, such a gripping narrative. You truly do spin a good yarn. Whoa, Prime, what happened? You're huge! I think I hit a growth spurt. I'm really hungry right now. Do you guys have any pizza bagels? No. Sorry. Oh, yeah, me neither. I'm sorry about that. No, it's alright. Pizza bagels. Well, that was weird. Say, can robots even eat pizza bagels? Nope. Say, I'm starving. Let's go grab some breakfast burritos. Oh, great idea! Those are my absolute favorite. I guess you could call these guys